Hello, tech students. This week we're going to learn about imaging and design for your online environment. This lesson will be very helpful for you for your final performance task where you will create a website for your product. I will be uploading a two-part video discussing this lesson so that we won't get left behind and we will have an extra week for you to create your websites. This will be part one, and we will be discussing images and graphics for this video. So first, let us define what is an image. An image is a representation of the external form of a person or thing in art. Images may be two-dimensional, such as a photograph or screen display, or three-dimensional, such as a statue or hologram. They may be captured by optical devices such as cameras, mirrors, lenses, telescopes, microscopes, and natural objects, and phenomena like the human eye or water. Images are a media type displayed as visual information. They can be drawings or paintings or photographs. Images are used to create interest and provide information. Photographs and other types of graphical data are designed specifically for display. There are advantages that images can provide. What do you think are these advantages? Number one, images are considered documentation and pieces of evidence. And number two, images use the universal language, and it does not need a specific language for you to understand an image. So every image that you see on your computer or on your cell phones, those images are made up of dots, and these dots are called pixels. Pixel is also known as a picture element. So this is where the word pixel came from. Pix from picture and EL from element. So that's why it's called pixel. Again, a pixel is represented by a dot or square on a computer monitor display screen, and basically pixels are the building blocks of a digital image or display, and they use a geometric coordinates. Along with pixels comes with image resolution. Image resolution is typically described in PPI, or that's what we call as pixels per inch. This refers to how many pixels are displayed per inch of an image. Higher resolution means that there are more pixels per inch, resulting to more pixel information and creating a high quality, crispy, and sharp image. Images with lower resolutions have fewer pixels, and if those pixels are too large, usually when an image is stretched, they can be visible. We have the two examples here with the pizza. Which do you think has the higher or lower resolution? Is it the pizza on the left, or is it the pizza on the right? The pizza on the left actually has a lower resolution because, as you can see, the pixels or the edges or the boxes are very, very visible. It means that the image on the left has a fewer pixels. The one on the right, as you can see, is very crisp, very clear, and very sharp. And as you can see, the edges are very smooth. It means that this is a high quality image, and therefore it is using a lot of pixels per inch. So let's now move on to graphics. So graphics are visual images or designs on some surface such as a wall, canvas, screen, paper, or stone to inform, illustrate, or entertain. Graphics are often contrasted with text, which is comprised of characters such as numbers and letters rather than images. So graphics may be images only or may also include text, and they can be used for decorative or functional purposes, including educating, informing, illustrating, or entertaining. So let's now move on to the examples and different kinds of graphics. So the first example that we have right here is called a line art or line drawing. This is any image that consists of distinct straight lines or curves placed against any background, but usually it's just plain. So when we say line art, these are drawings without any shade, without any color. It is just purely lines and curves, and usually it's represented by 2-dimension or 3-dimensional objects. As you can see here on the example on the left, it is just purely lines, curves, in a shape of an apple without any color. So next are graphs. So graphs are a great way to visualize data and display statistics. So there are lots of different kinds of graph. We have the bar graph, the line graph, and this one is what we call as the pie chart. So as you can see, this is one of the unique ways on how we can actually visualize data and display statistics, which will be very easier for people to comprehend and understand the statistics and data. So next we have typography design. So this is the art of arranging a message in a readable and aesthetically pleasing composition. So when we say typography, this is actually a technique of arranging letters which make them legible, written language legible and readable and appealing when displayed. So basically the arrangement type involves selecting typeface or fonts. We also have to select point sizes, line lengths, the line spacing and the letter spacing, as well as adjusting space between the letters. So basically, yes, typography is the art of arranging letters so that it would be more appealing and pleasing to people who will see the message. So while typography deals with letters, we now move on to the numbers. So numbers are basically the numeral version of typography. So it's basically the same technique and the same way how to aesthetically please people into understanding the value of the message through numbers. So let's now move on to symbols. So symbols is actually a critical component of graphic design because symbols can often communicate information more concisely than words. So an example here are the street signs. So basically, even though you're just looking at the symbols, you would actually know what those signs and symbols would actually mean. So next we have geometric patterns. So geometric patterns or geometric designs are a collections of shapes that are repeating or altered to create a cohesive design. So A great example is when you look at a kaleidoscope. So when you look at a kaleidoscope, it would actually create a lot of interesting geometric patterns. So let's now move on to another example of graphics, which is the map. So we've all seen a map. So we use map when we want to try to locate something or look for directions. So next we have computer graphics or CGI. So CGIs are now mostly used by films because it is very cost effective. So another example is engineering design, and engineering design is considered as graphics through using the software AutoCAD. So basically, they create graphics of their plans, especially with architects, especially with their planned buildings or planned towers. So they use AutoCAD to create graphics on their visions. Okay, so let's now move on to online image file formats. So there are different types of image formats on our computers. So we have number one, we have the JPEG. Number two, we have the GIFs or the GIFs. And number three, we have PNGs. Okay, so let's start off with a Joint Photographic Experts Group, or this is what we call as JPEGs. So even though JPEG is the most popular file format, it is also very flawed because especially when we upload JPEGs on our social media accounts, especially on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, what JPEG would do is that it actually loses its quality. So online platforms like Facebook or other social media platforms would actually compress the image so that it would be faster or easier to upload. So another thing about JPEG is that it does not support transparency, just like PNGs. Therefore, the JPEG format is a poor choice for saving a non-rectangular image, especially if they will be published on web pages with different background colors. So with logos, because mostly logos are circle, so the best file format that you would actually use for that image is a PNG, not a JPEG. So graphics interchange format is a popular bitmap graphics file format developed by CompuServe. So it is pronounced as GIF with GIF or GIF with a hard G. So either way, GIF or GIF, it's acceptable. It's an acceptable pronunciation of the GIF. So the definition of a GIF or GIF is an image format that is compressed to allow it to be transferred quickly, or an animated GIF, which is a collection of images played in sequence to appear that it is actually moving. So a GIF image are widely used on the web because the format is compressed and it takes less space. So a GIF supports 8-bit colors, but it gets the most mileage out of its limited colors by using a built-in color palette. So another key feature of PNG is that it supports transparency. So just like as what we can see here on the example, so if you see that checkered box thing on the background, it means that the image is transparent and that you can just lay it over to any background that you like. So it enables user to create images that overlay neatly with the content of a website or image. So the main advantage of PNG over JPEG is that the compression is lossless, which means that there is no loss in quality each time a file is opened and saved again. So when we say PNG, PNG is also good for detailed high contrast images. So this is typically the default file format for screenshots because instead of compressing groups of pixels together, it actually offers a nearly perfect pixel for pixel representation of the screen. Okay, so that's it for part one for our discussion for imaging and design for the online environment. So hopefully you learned something with this video, and stay tuned for video number two for part two this week. So I hope that you learned something with the video. So thank you so much for listening, for watching the video. Please like and subscribe. Okay, I'm just kidding. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you for part two. Bye.